Hi, so in this video I am going to be kind of talking about some dog food stuff. I'm going to go over my opinions on various dog foods, and then I'm also going to talk about what I feed, why I feed it, and then some of the supplements that I use. So I'm a member of tons of different Facebook dog food groups, between commercial diets to raw feeding, home cooked feeding, tons of different pages, different groups, all that sort of stuff. So there's tons of information that comes through those groups all the time. And I don't do nutrition consulting, as far as it's not a service I have available or anything like that. But I do love dog food. I do love going over it, and I have a few people that know that I do all this, and they'll email me for, what do you think of this brand of dog food, or what do you think of this supplement, sort of thing, and I'll help them as best I can. So the one trend that I'm seeing go through a lot of the Facebook groups, pages, all that sort of stuff, is in amongst an article, and I actually ran across a couple today, just this morning, which is what kind of prompted me to do this talk. It would be an article about, say, kidney disease, or it would be an article about, here's the one supplement you can give your dog that'll help for joint issues, or coat issues or anything. They're all kind of like general articles, right? But towards the bottom of the article would be a statement saying, if you feed your dog processed food, you are only worsening this condition, or you're, doing harm to your dog. And no matter the ingredients of any processed dog food on the market, no matter what it is, if you feed your dog a processed dog food, then basically it's terrible for your dog, and you're doing terrible things to your dog if you feed any kind of processed dog food. And that seemed to be kind of the trend on the bottom of all these articles. Here's this information, here's different supplements you can give your dog for this issue, but understand that if you feed any kind of processed dog food, you're doing more harm to your dog, and there is no such thing as a good processed dog food. I disagree. And I guess I disagree on the point more of, not everyone can afford to feed raw or home cooked, for that matter, and not everyone has the time. Do I think kibble or processed dog food is the best food in the whole wide world? No. Do I think you're killing your dog? No. And that's where some of these articles are upsetting me a little bit, is that they're coming across in a lot of Facebook posts and videos that are going around, or they're coming across as, if you feed your dog, and any kind of processed dog food, so we're talking kibble, canned, dehydrated, commercial raw, they are saying any kind of processed dog food, any commercial dog food, anything you can go buy in a dog store, that is what is being deemed as a processed or commercial food. I am of the mindset of, we do the best we absolutely can for our dogs. Do I think that kibble is the best dog food out there? No. But are there brands of kibble that I think are good for dogs, as far as they live on them just fine, they do fine on them? I have seen dogs, in my own personal experience with dogs, I know of dogs who are 16, 17 years old who have been fed kibble their entire life. Does that mean that kibble is the best and that's what you should feed? No, it just means that dog, the genetics play a huge role. That dog did well on that kibble. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story of what I do with my dogs. So my dogs do get kibble. I travel nonstop. I'm currently home for 2 weeks, and then I am gone for well over a month. And in that well over a month, I fly to Tennessee. I come home. I'm home for about a day. I get in a car. I drive to Montana. I'm in Montana for about a week. I leave from Montana. I immediately drive home. I'm home for a day, and then I fly overseas for 3 weeks. So in amongst all that traveling, there are times when I need to leave my dogs, and my boyfriend will care for them. And there are times like when I go to Montana that, you know, I can feed them, I can care for them, and all that sort of stuff. And then when I'm gone for 3 weeks in Europe, it will be my boyfriend taking care of them again. So is kibble way easier for all that? Yes, most definitely. Now, I'm also going to say I fed raw for, it was kind of a mix of raw and home cooked. I would say probably about 1.5 years, 2 years, somewhere in there. And was it doable with all the traveling? Yes, it was. Was it a pain in my butt? Yes, it was. But the biggest deciding factor for me when I was feeding kind of the raw / home cooked for my dogs is my dogs did not do well on it. I have 4 dogs, and my old dog used to do really well on raw, and as she's gotten older, she does not do well on it at all. So when I feed fresh foods, if it's meat involved, I cook it for her. And then I have Nargles, who's going to be 8 this year, and she does not do well any kind of raw. I have done everything. You name it to me, I have done it. I have gone through all the protein, figuring out if she has allergies or intolerances and any of that. I've done the grain-free. I've done with grain. I've done no veggies. I've done veggies. She just doesn't do well in raw. Her hair coat looks really bad. I've done nutrition consulting with professionals. She just doesn't do well on it. Plain and simple. So I feed all my dogs now. I'll get Nature's Logic, which I highly recommend. I love Nature's Logic. I love the fact I soak all my kibble in water. I soak it in water and it disintegrates. It becomes like a mush within 5 minutes. I love that. It's easier on their stomachs. But anyway, all my dogs get Nature's Logic. When I'm home and when I'm able, they also get fresh foods. So eggs. All my dogs tolerate dairy. So eggs, cottage cheese, yogurt, lots of sardines. They get sardines every week, eggs every week. I do have a butcher that I can go get meat from, and I can add fresh meat to the dog's food if I want to / need to. They get tons and tons of fresh foods along with their kibble. I do believe if feeding kibble, you should add some kind of fresh food. Dogs need something, whether that be an egg every day. Cottage cheese and yogurt are super easy. Sardines are super easy. Order from Amazon. You get a big old case of them delivered right to your door. I guess I'm a little sad for people that have emailed me, people I see on Facebook that due to work issues or, travel, whatever it may be, they cannot feed raw and they cannot feed home cooked. But they feel because of these articles and these videos that are circling around that there is no such thing as a good kibble, and that if you feed your dog kibble, you're going to kill your dog. And that makes me very sad, because not everybody can feed raw and home cooked, and I'm going to be completely honest, but not all dogs do good on it. I do not believe that raw is the end all, that raw is the only great food to feed your dog, and if you don't, you're harming them. I believe we do the best we can for our dogs. Do the best you can. So when I'm gone, my dogs all get kibble. They get fresh foods added to it, easy fresh foods. Again, eggs, sardines, stuff that's easy to add in. When I'm home, like this 2 weeks that I'm home right now, most of the time of this 2 weeks, either during the week, I'll have 1 or 2 days that are no kibble whatsoever. I feed them just fresh food. So they'll get a meal in the morning. They'll have eggs, yogurt, cottage cheese, maybe some greens. And then in the evening will be, meat and things like that. And they'll get no kibble whatsoever. And then even on the days when I'm still giving them kibble, it's a half and half sort of deal. So like in the morning it might be kibble, and then the evening is all fresh food, or vice versa. I don't think it matters either way. And I have people that feed half and half directly. So they'll, it's kibble and fresh food with the kibble, same meal, both morning and night. I think we do the best we can. Do I believe that there are bad kibbles out there? Yes, lots. Do I also believe there are really good kibbles out there? Yes. I like Nature's Logic. I've spoken with the people at Nature's Logic. I like their company. I like how they operate, the people, the food. I like all of it. And there are lots of other good kibbles you can give your dog. On that same note, freeze-dried, dehydrated, those are all great. I have fed freeze-dried and dehydrated both, and the only reason I don't is I have 4 dogs and I cannot afford it. Let's go ahead and be honest there. You know, for my dogs, and I have Trip, the youngest one I have, almost eats me out of house and home. He's got a high metabolism and I have to feed him a lot. So with a dehydrated, you know, Sojo's, Grandma Lucy's, Honest Kitchen, any of those, I have to feed him a lot. So I end up going through, however you want to look at, 2 boxes, 2 bags, almost a week. It's about a box and a half, bag and a half, somewhere in there, depending on how much I cut it with fresh foods, you know, and I can feed a little less. I cannot afford that at most of them at, you know, $80, $90 a bag. So do I think those are good foods as well? Definitely. It's a good, and they're fresher than kibble, you know, the dehydrated, freeze-dried. I personally really like Grandma Lucy's. That's what I had the best luck with. That's what my dogs did the best on. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I feed for those interested. So again, I feed Nature's Logic and I rotate between the varieties. So like I'm running out right now, the bag I'm currently feeding is beef. The bag that should be arriving, I believe, Monday morning will be turkey. And then the next time I order a bag, I might order their duck and salmon and then maybe chicken. So I rotate through the varieties. They also have a commercial raw, and I have that coming on Monday as well. That's super easy when I'm gone. Jimmy can just feed them, you know, throw some kibble in there and then take a scoop of some of the frozen raw, and then we put hot water on it so the kibble is getting, you know, dissolved and all that sort of stuff, and the raw is getting defrosted as well. So I'm not against raw, obviously. I stick with I like my kibble. That's what works best. So anyway, Nature's Logic also sells some canned. So I do feed canned. A lot of times I get a case of canned when I'm on the road. And especially like when we're traveling and it's going to be 3 or 4 days of driving. And I might not have the option of being able to have fresh foods. So I do feed some canned just because a little bit more moisture in there. It's a little bit fresher than kibble, and it gives them a little bit, some different textures and stuff like that in there. So I do that. And I also, excuse me, I lost my train of thought. I also add some dehydrated or freeze-dried if I happen to get some. I'll, you know, maybe have a meal of dehydrated, freeze-dried, and then kibble in the evening or morning or however you want to do it. So I mix things. I don't want to, when I'm feeding commercial, I don't want to just stick with, I'm just feeding beef, I'm just feeding Nature's Logic, and that's all they get. I want to make sure and have things mixed, right? And I do believe if you're feeding a commercial food, even dehydrated or freeze-dried, you should add some fresh foods to it. Fresh being, eggs, sardines, those I always say those because those are the easiest to come by and usually the cheapest. As far as you can get big batches of them, and it's the nicest, easiest way to add things. If you have a butcher you can get meat from, you can add some beef, chicken, turkey, all that sort of good stuff. So like I said, I rotate through flavors, I rotate through my varieties. You know, during a week, they might have one day where all they get is home cooked / raw. They might have one day where it's kibble with fresh foods. They might have one day where it's kibble with canned, kibble with dehydrated. It really depends on what I've ordered. Chewy.com, love it. It depends on what I've ordered, how I'm traveling, who's taking care of them. It all plays into what they get fed as far as what's happening. I feed Open Farm dry and add canned pumpkin or veggies sardines once a week. Perfect. Open Farm is a food I haven't tried yet, but I have heard amazing things about it. Everybody loves it, and I've heard great things about it. So that's awesome. So as far as supplements, I do feed 3, what I consider my 3 kind of base supplements that my dogs always get. So The first thing, this is a fairly new supplement that I've gotten. Let's see, it's called, it's all turned around. It's called Spunky. This is their level 2. They have a Spunky that's just Spunky, I guess. And then they have Spunky level 2. This is actually made by a local manufacturer over in Tangent, Oregon. The name of the company is Animal Health Solutions. I tried this on a whim. I saw it in my local store and I thought, why not? It's got tons of awesome stuff, probiotics, digestive enzymes, a bunch of joint supplements. Let's see here, hyaluronic acid, kelp, yucca. It just seemed like a really cool supplement, so I went ahead and gave it a try and have never looked back. Love, love, love it. I have seen massive improvement in my dogs, especially my 13-year-old who was having a little bit of joint issues, and I was swapping through joint supplements, which is something you need to keep in mind. Some joint supplements work for dogs, others do not. You need to kind of cycle through them and find what works for your dog. But this Spunky, if you search Animal Health Solutions online, you can find their website. It is now one of my base. I always feed it. It is fantastic. All my dogs get it, and I get the level 2. It's supposed to be for senior and working dogs, so that's what I get. Love it. My next one that I fed now for years, first introduced to me by a chiropractor in Wyoming, is APF. So this is the APF Pro. Auburn Labs produces it. They make the same supplement for dogs, horses, and people. I personally take it, the person one, and I can feel a difference. I can tell a difference on days that I take it and days that I do not. And this supplement, no matter what, even beyond the Spunky and then this next one I'll show you, this is what my dogs will always get every day. All 4 of my dogs get this. I love this supplement, and I cannot tell you enough. It's an herbal tincture. The biggest thing for my dogs with it is traveling. It's great for stress. It's great for any digestive issues. Nargles swears by this because she always has digestive issues. And it's great for any kind of tummy upsets. So that's the big thing I have found it for. And not to mention, I have noticed a huge difference in my dog's stamina when competing, especially like at championships. It's a week long. I've noticed a huge difference if I give this and if I don't give this. So Auburn Laboratories, try it for yourself. That was the big thing for me, is when I took it for myself, and I noticed a difference and I could feel a difference. And so then my next kind of staple supplement is Silver Linings. This is their Canine Foundation. They have a bunch of different herbal supplements. All my dogs get the foundation supplement, which is just that. It's a foundation, a general herbal supplement. And then I have different ones that tailor kind of to each dog. So like Try has some kidney issues, so she gets their kidney support and their brain support one. I can't remember that full name of it. I'm really sorry, but it's brain and something for some of her cognitive issues that she's having. And then Allie and Trip both get their Keep Cool supplement. Nargles gets their Skin and Coat supplement. So you can really tailor, because they have so many different kinds, so many different varieties. Like I said, all my dogs get the foundation, and then I can tailor different supplements to what each dog needs, right? So Nargles, usually in the winter is when I give the Skin and Coat, because her skin gets a little dry. And I've noticed huge differences with that. So you can do a lot with this supplement, as far as you can go to their website, and they have joint supplements, they have supplements for allergies. They have this stuff called Power Dust, and I'm going to see if I can find the pictures. Trip last year cut his shoulder open really bad, and I used the Power Dust to heal it, and it was absolutely amazing. It made me a believer. I've never used it before until then. And so it was a pretty bad cut, and I was pretty sure he was going to have some real serious scarring because of it. And I put that stuff on. I put it on in the morning, and it's a powder. And so you have to put it on. It has to be kind of a wet wound. And so I stuck it on his shoulder. I didn't even put a wrap or anything on it. He left it alone. That could have just been him, but he left it alone. And the difference was dramatic. It went from being a pretty oogie looking cut to it was, I would say it was healing and looking amazing in 2, maybe 3 days. And now, unless you really know where to look and you can like kind of see this teeny little scar, nobody has any idea he ever had a cut. And I was pretty sure he was gonna have a pretty big scar right across, right in front of his shoulder here. He never did. So I recommend Silver Lining, not to mention I work with Silver Lining and the company itself. They're just good people. It's a good company. All 3 of these companies. I do like to know the companies that I'm feeding. That's why I like to know Nature's Logic. I've spoken with them. I like how they operate. I like the people. And the same with all these companies, Spunky, Auburn Laboratories, and Silver Lining. I have spoken with all of them and worked with all of them, and I like them, the company. And that is a big thing when you're feeding your dog, is just being able to, you need to like what you're feeding and trust what you're feeding. So those are my 3, those are the base supplements that my dogs get. They really don't get anything else beyond that. Try is on some kidney medication. So she's on, that's the only thing that I don't have sitting here, but obviously not a supplement. But beyond my dogs getting, like I said, they kind of get what I consider is their base is Nature's Logic. And then I always add fresh foods. Even when I'm gone, like when I'm gone for the 3 weeks in Europe, Jimmy will add eggs, he'll cottage cheese, yogurt, he'll add fresh foods. Because I do believe if you are feeding a kibble or commercial diet, you need to add fresh foods to that. So in a nutshell, this whole talk, I'm slightly sad at the posts that come through on Facebook that I see, and a lot of them are big name people that are coming through basically saying, if you feed your dog any processed food, make sure and read that into it. Any processed food, that can be raw, commercial raw, dehydrated kibble, any commercial processed food, you are doing wrong by your dog. And I just don't believe that. And maybe I'm far off in left field, but I personally feel that not all kibble is bad. Not all kibble is the devil. Are there bad kibbles? Yes, indeed, there sure are. But I want to do the best I can for my dogs. I went down the raw route, and no, it didn't work for my dogs. Half my dogs, literally half, I have 4, half my dogs did not do well on it, and it is hard to travel. I don't care what anybody tells you, it is hard, especially for me. I travel sometimes, and I have one circuit that I'm traveling in the summer. I will be gone for 6 weeks, and it's all to different places, and I cannot guarantee a fridge and a freezer at all these different places for my dogs. So I do the best I can for my dogs, and I do not believe that feeding them kibble is killing them. And so I hope everyone watches this video, and I hope that you can see that you can feed a commercial food and it's fine, and you can feed raw and it's fine, or home cooked and it's fine. As long as you do your research, you're happy with what you feed, you're balancing it, especially if you're feeding a raw or home cooked. Do some reading, make sure they're getting enough calcium, make sure they're getting zinc and all that sort of stuff. Make sure you're balancing your foods. And when I'm feeding kibble, I make sure that, I'm aware of what all I'm feeding that week, that they're not getting, tons and tons and tons and tons of chicken. And that's all they get is chicken. The kibble's chicken, and I'm feeding them chicken. Make sure that, you know what's going on, and you know what you're feeding them. But I'm probably in the minority that says I do not believe kibble is the devil. I personally feel that there are many good companies out there. There are many good brands, and you can do right by your dog by feeding commercial. So I hope that this video helped. I hoped it answered some questions, and I got a little bit off my chest of everything I've been seeing, especially this morning. I swear I saw like 4 different posts come through about how awful processed food is, and all that sort of stuff. So I hope that this kind of goes over some questions. I will save this video, and I'll put links up to all my these 3 supplements that I showed you. I will put the links up to those in the comments, so you can access them. When you buy any of them, especially the APF or the Silver Lining, if you mention my name, Silver Lining gives you 10% off. If you use my name, just use all lowercase Amanda Nelson in the coupon code, and you'll get 10% off. And then if you just mention my name for APF, that does a lot of good for me, just in the fact that it shows that, you know, I'm supporting them and everything. And it helps me as far as just, it helps me. it helps that, you know, because they do a lot for me. They send me lots of stuff, banners and shirts, and they really, really, really want to help dogs. And I guess that's my biggest thing, why I love APF so much, is that it's not just marketing or trying to make money. Auburn Laboratories, man, I love them to death. And this, if I can only feed one supplement, this is it. It's an amazing supplement and it helps my dogs, but it also, they're just a good company. They want horses, dogs, and people to be healthy and to feel good. I've talked with them, and I love them. That they are not just all about the bottom line and making a buck. They want to help people. So APF is awesome. Silver Lining is awesome. And like I said, if you want to look up, I've been feeding this little spunky stuff for about, I don't know, almost a year now. And like I said, it's a local company here in Oregon. It's really good. I really, really like it. I used to feed a whole slew of, here's my probiotic, and here's my general supplement, and here's my digestive enzymes. And I used to have this whole cupboard of all the stuff I had to feed, and I have completely replaced it with this. So, like I said, Animal Health Solutions. It's made in Tangent, Oregon. Check out their website. They have a lot of different kinds. They even have a supplement if you are feeding a raw or home cooked diet. They have a supplement specifically for that, to help with vitamins and minerals that may be deficient in your raw or home cooked diet. So check it out. I'll put links to all these in the comments. And if you have any questions, post them in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to them as soon as I can. Today, I've got some stuff going on today, but I'll try to get everything answered as fast as I can. Thank you so much for joining. I really hope that the video helped. And I hope it answers some questions, and I'm always more than happy to talk dog food and to help anyone who wants any help. Thank you.